survive and thrive on chaos.
You know, I'm starting to think none of these guys have even played Fortnite.
What's up, everybody? Nigeria Chambers here from Big Gold Belt Media. Today, very excited to continue my coverage and conversations about a film that I don't say this often, and when I say this, I truly do mean it. That a film that is so unique, but I couldn't be more honest in saying a film that we truly need right now because it's so much fun. It is chaotic. And obviously, I really want some more, and I hope I get answers about the continuation of where this can go. But that's no other than the film Killing Mary Sue. It is available right now on digital and on demand, so you definitely want to make sure you check it out. I am with the star, and I am with the writer director, and Sierra and James today. How are you two doing today?
I'm good. What's up with you, James? How's it going?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
Yeah,
When is the
hanging
last
out.
time y'all two kicked it together?
Not that long ago, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing all these Zoom interviews together, so we see each other a lot there. But we went and we caught a movie at the Academy Museum, what, maybe a month ago?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me a part of the tandem today. And congratulations on the film. I really had so much fun with it, and I really do appreciate the time to talk about it.
Thank
James, I want to start off with you because this is your brainchild as the writer and director. The first thing I want to ask you, man, is with these indie projects here, and I definitely don't mean indie in the sense of a slander, because I hopefully the world understands that this is
Oh
where the
no,
gold is at.
we're very
Um,
indie.
but hey,
Yeah.
you say obviously your finances and getting it done, but from the viewer's eye, this is a great production, and you have to be completely blind to not see the star-studded cast from Sierra all the way down. A lot of people don't get lucky like that. So
Yeah.
I want to start there because when you bring these folks together, number one, that's this magic in itself. But then you give them roles and characters that they've never been able to play. And that says a lot for somebody like Martin or just anybody at this rate, that you're able to give them something new and refreshing. So just for you, when you got the cast, when you had to start to kind of talk about the approach to pitch and what you wanted them to be, just talk me through all of your emotions in terms of landing all of this.
Yeah. I mean, I was really excited that we got the cast that we got. It's a spectacular cast, and I think one of the things that sets it apart, like you said, is the roles in this script are just so different from most other things that these people are doing. Like even Sierra, like hasn't really gotten to flex much of her comedy chops since her Disney days, I think, and that's also a
Correct.
very different brand of comedy in its own right. Um, yeah, I
Uh,
remember. I remember when I think one of our first conversations, Sierra was talking about how she was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely want to start taking on roles that kind of buck that image a little bit." And I was like, "Well, I got a role here of like a sex addicted crackhead, so that's I think about as far from Disney as you can get." Um, but yeah, Dermot Mulroney, when do you see Dermot Mulroney do comedy? Like every now and then, maybe, but like he's so funny. He's got
Yeah.
great timing, all that. Um, yeah, I don't even remember what your question was at this point. I'm just
Nah,
excited
you're
about the
nailing
cast
it.
now.
It's just you got so many folks who we all know from, particular genres or projects, but then you put them here and it's basically like you opened up the playground and said, "All right, kids, have fun. You
Oh
do
yeah,
something you've never done before.
yeah.
Your parents aren't watching." And it came together masterfully. And I that's really was some of the biggest like surprises among some of these very, very comedic moments that I just wasn't expecting. Um, I wrote this in my notes, Sierra, and I wasn't sure if it was going to land the way I really was planning. But
okay, I'm ready.
all right, let's do it. You have to be again blind to not appreciate, recognize, and truly give all due respect for your sense of fashion. So I'm curious, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it the conversation about, you know, what she brings as a person in terms of fashion? Was the character built around that? Or was that something that you brought and said, this is how I want the character to be? This is the representation of, how the styles from scene to scene. Like what came first?
That's a really fun question, actually, because James was really open to collaboration on that front. And for me, as an actor, wardrobe is a huge part of my process because even if it's very plain and nondescript, that's still a choice that a person is making every single day of their life. You know, you get up
Yeah.
and you get dressed every single day. And so, how you do that, whether it's a lack of care or a lot of attention to detail, whatever it is, it's an indication of who this person is. And so James was very excited to cast me. I think he said this because he looked through like my Instagram and stuff and saw that I love to put together a cool little fit sometimes. And
All the
he was
time, but yeah.
oh well, thank you. And he was like excited because he told me at least that was an aspect of character that he wasn't really like, he didn't have any like notions about it. He was just going to kind of let me rip essentially. And so our costumer and I collaborated, and a lot of the pieces that I wear in the film are my personal just wardrobe. um, Most of it actually. So like the leather pants I wear, the like tiger print sweater that I wear, the jeans that I wear, my shoes mostly because I'm a size 5 shoes, so it's really hard for indie productions to very quickly find a lot of shoes for me. So it's all my
Mm.
shoes. So and also I did the makeup as well. I applied that myself because I had like a very specific idea about when people are in a state of chaos or addiction or whatever, your makeup might get a little more batshit.
Yeah.
And I say this because during the pandemic, I was doing my eyebrows in a fucking insane way, and so like when I was mentally not well because I was stuck inside all day, so I had this idea that someone who's in this state of chaos and in under control of someone and in addiction would have a very distinct look.
Yeah.
And so James was really collaborative and kind of just like let me loose on that front. And it was really, really fun to collaborate with the hair and makeup team and the wardrobe team to kind of bring that to life. So I don't know which chicken or egg was first, but I think James and I had a really fun conversation about essentially just letting me do my thing. And
Yeah.
I got to just kind of dive in. It was super, super fun. It was a really important, fun part of the process for me. So thank you for asking. Thank you for noticing.
Absolutely, absolutely. James, I don't want to overstep here, but one, I gotta say, like, I gotta give you your flowers for that because that's not a norm from the conversations I've had with other directors. Like, they're like, "Hey, this is my project. This is what it's gonna be." And obviously, I'm sure you reaped your benefits from that because it's a fantastic job from scene to scene. And I do agree, Sierra, as somebody who's been around folks, addicts and sorts, you see that all in the makeup. You see that in the designs of the clothes. You see,
Yeah.
sometimes you could be razor sharp, sometimes a little bit off. And you see that even in the smallest moments when you see Mrs. Mary Sue, going through the motions. So it's definitely a great representation of everything that she's battling, her demons and whatnot. Speaking of demons,
Thank you.
I asked this off. I wrote this as my first note, even when I was talking to Jesse, and I said, is it wrong to think that Miss Mary Sue Harper has superpowers? Because she did get from upstairs to downstairs pretty damn quick. Is that really an element? Does she have anything magical about her or supernatural that we should know about?
I would say absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the whole joke is that she's good at everything for no reason, and it's not really explained how or why this is a thing as much as it just is a thing. And so it could be supernatural, it could be this or that. I mean, everything from complete invulnerability from being punched in the face to like when she does her cartwheel and none of the bullets hit her. It's like, it's not supposed to make sense, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
When we were on set, my producer Larry was asking me like how many different fictional characters could Mary Sue beat? He was like,
Ooh.
could she beat Luke Skywalker? Could she beat John Wick? And I was like, dude, Mary Sue would sneeze on John Wick and kill him. Like,
You need to do like Mary Sue versus like Godzilla. We need to go bigger.
yeah,
We need to widen our perspective, not
Hey,
mortals, we need to start talking about monsters.
get
yeah.
the hey, listen, get the I would that's a comic I would sign up for right now. A whole line to be exact here. Oh, that's a great question for the producer with that. Yeah, I definitely was going to talk about the cartwheel scene. I don't know if I was going to talk about it in the notion of it being her her superpower, but
No. That is the most dog shit cartwheel. I've never been able to do a cartwheel. I've been very insecure about that since I was
yeah,
a kid. And when this in the script it says she does the worst, like most pathetic, weakest cartwheel of all time, and I was like, okay, I just hope that this reads as that. Like I'm following orders and I'm gonna do the most dog shit, terrible fucking cartwheel you've ever seen
yeah,
for you. But
yeah.
I hope it comes across as like, wow, she doesn't have to do a good cartwheel and she doesn't get hit. Instead of like, why the fuck did they let the actress do the cartwheel and they didn't have the stunt performer do that? But I'm glad it seems to have come across the correct way. I was a little worried. I was a little scared that I was like, ugh, are people just gonna think that I just like went out there and was like, no, trust me, just roll with me here. Like, let me do a cartwheel, and it's the worst cartwheel of all time.
Yeah, I
I
think
let
I think
oh go
I
ahead,
think
bro,
the
go ahead.
direction I gave you on set was you cannot do that. There is no possible like worst way that you could do this. Like the worse it
Okay,
is, the better. Yeah.
okay. Well, and I think I really delivered on that, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, that goes to my question because one of the notes I made about the film is like it's got to be some of the most unorthodox crafted, you know, stunts in martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, and it's golden. It's what you want. So how do you craft imperfect scenes? And you did to give the direction about the cartwheels, but how do you build that fully to say like, you know, we don't need any of this to look razor sharp, which is which is interesting because I want to make sure folks, when you watch this film, you understand very correctly that I'm talking about a particular moment in or particular scene with the Steiners and whatnot in about the second act. But obviously, the third act is when you're like, but just in case y'all didn't think we can do this, legitly, here you go. Which is what I love. Again, the unpredictability of everything. But like, yeah, how do you craft this? Say like, we need this to come off as cynical as possible. We need this to be unorthodox. We don't need this to look clean at all. We need all of whatever the silly moments we can have at any given point. Like what's sort of the direction and how do you sort of write that into the script?
Yeah, I wanted like a very intentional evolution of the way that the action came across in the film. Because, the character of Mary Sue has this evolution even still, where it's like the first kill she makes is completely by accident. She doesn't even intend it. And then the next time she intends it, but she's not very good at it. And then the next time she's getting better. And then by the end, it's just, she's a machine. So I very intentionally tried to build each action sequence on top of the next one in a way where you saw the evolution and the progress of her being more confident and more comfortable in her skin as an action hero. And regarding that action scene in the second act with the Steiners, I found the best way to approach that was to kind of cake the action sequence into just little gags.
Mm,
The cartwheel bit is a gag. Her poking her head up from behind the couch saying, "How do you reload?" is a gag.
I love it.
Um, her tripping the guy and he falls on his own knife
Yes.
is a gag. Like these aren't really even necessarily even like action moments, but it's chaos and gunshots and action is just the wrapping paper over a bunch of comedy beats.
Yeah.
And then when you put them all together back to back, it almost gives the illusion of an action sequence, even though it's really kind of not. Um, but I thought it worked. I thought it all came together.
Yeah. And also, I thought from a cinematography standpoint, it was shot beautifully. I love the
Thank
low
you.
light looks and really utilizing such a small space and making it feel a lot bigger than what it was. And maybe it was a big mansion, but still, from the viewer's eye point, I utilized every corner of it, and I thought that was masterful. Um, to ask a deep question for you, Sierra, about the
Ooh.
character, what's more of the struggle for her? Is it the acceptance from Bradley, the love is, and I definitely mean love, like not so much of just being proud or any of the accomplishments or whatever it may be, but like the word love itself seems to hold so much weight for her. Or is it truly the struggle with addiction, the pipe, the drugs, the party, the nightlife, and whatnot? What happens to be the one that's truly the biggest struggle for her?
Well, to me, I think they're intertwined. She turns to, in my mind, she turns to those not subjects, the substances. She turns to those substances and all the hedonism of, the drinking and the drug use and the partying and stuff like that and the casual sex. Not that there's, anything wrong with a lot of those things, but I think she's using them to kind of cope with the pain of not getting that validation from Bradley. And what she doesn't realize is that, her desire for his validation keeps her completely under his control, and he can manipulate her however he wants to in that respect, because he's always going to have this thing over her. He's always going to have this carrot that he can dangle in front of her, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I think because she doesn't receive that validation from like a male father figure, her father, is dead, and she doesn't, that's a hole that's, gaping in her emotional life.
Yeah.
I think to cope with that pain, that's where the substance comes from. And so I think on the surface level, she's controlled by her substance addiction, but then on the larger like level, I think the substance abuse is a symptom of the greater problem that she is so desperate for validation from Bradley that she doesn't get. So I think she kind of has two puppeteers there in a way. She has the addiction, and then in the greater scheme of things, she has the mastermind Bradley, who's puppeteering all of her wants and desires and coping mechanisms and stuff. So I don't know. I think they're very like enmeshed in each other, those two things.
Yeah, I tried my hardest to just watch for entertainment and joy and fun, but I couldn't help but to sit back and really think deeply about how, and Dermot, fantastic job performance here,
Yeah.
with Bradley, how love is weaponized in this, and in a
Yeah.
way that it doesn't come, it's not quite apparent very early. I don't think it's not until maybe like the last 10 minutes do you realize it, like you said, Sierra, like he understands that he can use that at any given time to restring you back under control. And that's a dangerous thing. Makes you wonder, like, I hope there's nobody else in your personal life that does stuff like that, because it's something that you don't see her really fully recognize up until almost the very end, which could be detrimental for some folks, one way or another.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. That's
intentional
something that
writing.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say intentional writing, James, throwing in there
Yeah.
those sub messages on the low. I see you,
Yeah.
brother. Go ahead,
That's something we
Sierra.
talked about, honestly, when James and I had our discussion, because on the surface, this is a very like fun, chaotic movie, and it's an opportunity to do kind of comedy that I personally would think is funny. Um, but beyond that, we had a really wonderful conversation when we were meeting up to, or like zooming to introduce each other. Because I signed on to this movie like 2 days before it started filming, so we had to kind of really dive in on the character discussion pretty quickly. But something that James told me is that this is a movie that's about a girl, and she has this incredible ability, and it's funny because you wouldn't expect this person to be able to do these things, and yes, but on the whole, like the emotional through line is about the different levels of control that she's
Mm.
experiencing from other people and other things. And that was something that was really interesting for me to dig into as well. Not only just the fun sort of action comedy aspect of it, which is like vastly different from like my usual like repertoire of work, but
Yeah.
also the idea that she's battling the push and pull of kind of the control that this has over her and her desire to get this validation, which kind of makes it cyclical and keeps her in control. or out of control. She's being controlled, so it keeps her being controlled. And so I thought that was a really interesting aspect of the script that James and I talked about when we were discussing it in the beginning. And I really appreciate it, and I'm glad it came through.
Absolutely. All right, so I was gonna wait to the end for this. Killing Mary Sue, again, available right now on demand and digital. So go out and support. Fantastic film. As I said in the opening, you have me hooked. So sign me up for more. And when I say more, I don't even mean linearly, like there has to be an immediate sequel, because you definitely got a few options to play with here. Now, first and foremost, sign me up for Killing Mary Sue 2. I'll take that either way. And I'm gonna come
Me
back to you
too.
1 second here.
Yeah.
But I also think you have another sort of spinoff right in your hand, because with these type of Russian spy espionage sort of thrillers that are completely probably one of the most popular genres out there, from the likes of the Bournes and all the type of Red Rooms and stuff like that, the Black Widows and whatnot in Marvel. The Housekeeper, the name sells itself.
Yeah.
And just to know the more of the origins of that, you get the most wholesome looking ladies that can go out there and kick ass that no one's ever going to suspect or detect. I mean, like golden. But to focus on a possibility of a Killing Mary Sue 2, first and foremost, Sierra, as you said, stepping into a genre that you hadn't had much work in, but like you certainly made a statement that you're here to stay. You're not here to play. The third act, again, the second act shows you sort of a satire, but the third act, you was like, okay, well, hold my beer. And I know, in these sorts of different things that collaboration with stunt teams and stunt work, but at the end of the day, you have to sell it, you have to look it, we have to feel it regardless. And that for sure, I'm on board for. What does a sequel look like? What does the turning of the page to the chapter two? Sierra, what for you first? What do you desire? What do you hope? And what can you possibly see? Matter of fact, let's make this
Ooh.
even more cool. Why don't you pitch it right now to James?
Oh my God. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this will fully work because James and I have already talked about what we like. James already has like a very like fleshed out
Yeah.
idea
Yeah. I got
for a
Oh,
second a second Killing Mary Sue, Killing Mary Sue to the Mary Sueing.
too
But
too married too Sue.
oh yeah, to Mary to Sue.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I don't feel like I can pitch something to him because he's already told me his idea and I think it's really cool and I'm really fucking floored by it. So I don't know. I don't want to put you in that position, James, where now you have to say, but
hey, listen, don't get in no trouble.
I'm
Don't reveal
sorry.
none of the
Yeah.
secrets yet. Okay, so if there isn't anything you can say about where you feel the evolution of your character. And as you mentioned, the collaboration in this one, obviously, James has to trust you in order for some of the things you may want to bring to it. I don't know if you've been able to say that yet, but what are some things you think you will want to explore now? Now we see what she really can do. Does she stick
Yeah.
very serious now? Does she relapse and kind of goes back into a lackadaisical mode? Hey, she almost threw a whole little kink party, and I don't know if I'm not convinced that they were ready to kick some ass too. Do you bring the homies with you? Like, talk to me about this. What are you sort of thinking?
I feel like she's empowered now. She's like kicked her master, her what's keeping her is, being controlled in that way. She's empowered. She's aware of her abilities. She, fuck Bradley now at this point. So I feel like the next chapter is go bigger and go broader now. Like whose ass does she get to kick now? Now that she's like killed all these like, super accomplished assassins.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. The
now,
best of the best, they
yeah,
say.
now she goes. I think she goes the next level. I think she starts going like, we got to think bigger. I feel like, and I think she does bring her crew with her. I think the Mary Sue crew could be a really fun part of another chapter. Would be her relationship with all the cool friends she's made along the way, all her insane partying around the
All
world.
the world,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's got to have some really cool friends in different countries and different places doing all kinds of stuff. So I feel like the possibilities are really endless. But I think for me, the thing that I would be most excited about exploring is like, what does Mary Sue do now with this power? Now that she's empowered within herself, now that she's out of the sort of clutches of searching for validation, what does she do with all this unbridled ability and a clear head now, you know? So I don't know, James,
Mm.
you can talk about that, but that's what I'd like to think about.
No, yeah, you're onto something. I've always thought that like thematically, Killing Mary Sue is about, a character who removes the chains
Yeah.
and takes control of her own life again. And so I think thematically a second film would necessarily be about like, well, what do you do now? Like,
Yeah.
how do you find how do you find purpose when it's up to you now and it's not up to somebody else anymore?
Mm.
And then in terms of a plot, I don't mind talking about it. I will say for anybody who's watching this that hasn't seen it, there's no way that I can talk about my idea for the sequel without spoiling this
Right,
one.
of course. Yeah.
So,
Goes
So
without
once
saying.
spoiler
again, on
alert.
demand and digital right now, folks. Come back and watch the rest of the interview
Yep.
at another time. But yeah, continue, brother.
Yep. Okay, so people at home, pause it now, and now unpause. So, obviously, this film completely jumps the shark in the end when she kills God. Um,
The big part of
and
why I said yes too. When I read that part, I was like, "Oh, this
Oh,
is like Gonzo bonkers shit." I was like, "This has
yeah,
become absurdist action movie." I love it.
so a sequel would necessarily have to take place in a world where God no longer exists. And what are the ramifications of that? And I think in the end, ultimately, that would mean that Mary Sue would have to find and kill the devil. And I think that's fun because we can bring back a lot of characters that were killed. I've got this funny idea that Dermot Mulroney would be like the Devil's campaign manager, so now he's like the number two guy rather than being the number one guy.
Oh my God. I'm sitting
Yeah.
here pitching, thinking ideas in my head. This is why I need to continue to watch and not try to write.
It's
That is,
like
oh my God.
it's out there.
I'll see you soon, friend.
Yeah. Mary Sue
That,
goes to hell. Like
yeah, Sierra, straight up. When you saw that she killed fucking God, what was the first reaction that came to mind?
no, I was floored because I was like, wow, that's taking it into a complete. It's taking such a different turn. I was just like, this has become action. This was an action comedy, and now it's become like a Gonzo batshit like absurdist action movie. I don't know because that's so like out of the realm of like the usual like tone and scope of an action comedy that I was excited honestly because I was like, okay, this movie's really going for it, which I appreciate. I love when things really shoot for the stars
Yeah,
on that, you know. So I don't know,
yeah.
I was excited. That's one of the reasons when I read that it's towards the end, I was just like, oh fuck yeah, like okay, I need to talk to this guy. I need to see what the fuck's up with this dude who thought of that. So I need to talk to him.
Where'd you learn to throw a punch?
um Over the years I've been in things where once in a while I'll get to throw a punch and I take a lot of more punches than I usually get to throw, which I don't know what that says about me being a woman on film and misogyny and whatever. I take a lot of punches. I don't often get to throw them, so I don't know
Yeah,
what that means. But
yeah,
I think on set we kind of practiced. Our stunt coordinator kind of practiced with me. Just kind of like selling it and stuff. But I don't know. When you do enough things, even if it's not action stuff, you sometimes will have to throw a punch. I do a lot of horror, and so
yeah.
sometimes you'll have to do it in there. So over the years, I've kind of gotten a little crash course a few times from different stunt coordinators on how to throw a punch. I will say it didn't come from personal experience or knowledge. I'm not a punch thrower
You're a lover.
in the real,
Not a
not
fighter.
exactly. No, I'm a hater, but a verbal hater, not a physical hater. So
My new
I'll
favorite
throw a
friend.
verbal punch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I asked because that was another note I made. I was like, yeah, like there is a lot of emphasis of throwing a punch and taking a punch, and like you
Yeah.
damn sure are throwing them punches. I'm like,
Yeah.
those babies are clean. Like
Thank
for
you.
real.
Thank you. That's definitely the most punches I've thrown in any one project. That's for sure. It's like definitely takes the cake. So James, you have that distinction now.
Yeah, I'd like
But
to add I'd like to add too the scene where she punches Sean Patrick Flannery and breaks his neck. One take.
Ooh. See?
Yeah.
Unnatural.
Yeah, yeah, one take to take them down, but not because we had only time for one take or anything,
Oh,
but
you they were just loading up for more if you needed
I'm kidding,
it.
I'm
More
kidding.
hands on deck, and just in case you
If it had
wanted.
been bad, we would have gone again. I know
Oh,
for a fact.
definitely.
So it's the
Definitely.
fact that it was a good punch, and so I don't want to take that away from myself.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
she made sure to make her first punch a good one because she knew we were running behind schedule. She was like,
Yeah.
I can't mess this up.
I was like,
Of
let me
course.
lock in. Like,
See, now she has to be an EP on the next film. I mean, she's caring about budget. She contributes so much extra of the background stuff needed. So yeah, you love that. Somebody that's being fair to the dollar.
well, thank
That's
you.
that's
Yeah, maybe
obviously
you
here to
should.
help make a lot of dollars as well
Yeah.
because it's a great film. And God, I need y'all to get back to work. For the
Yeah.
sake of time, last question. This is something I wasn't totally sure about. What color is the blood, the practical blood, or because I know some of it's CG, but for the practical blood, is it odd for me to say that it feels a little stylish and a little bit more closer to the pink, and is that like part of like the aesthetic of everything? Okay,
Yeah, so there's actually very, very little practical blood. Like probably only the stuff that's like applied to
yeah,
the face in
blood
terms
costs a
of
lot,
makeup.
folks.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had a smaller budget and not a lot of
Yeah,
time and a
yeah.
house that we did not have
Oh,
the rights to destroy.
good point.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, this the blood is intentionally oversaturated and intentionally big, like much bigger than you would expect, just because I wanted to sell the absurdity. I wanted the action sequences, the shootout sequences to almost be reminiscent of cartoons
Yeah,
and things like that. And there were some people that saw that and was like, "Oh, this doesn't quite look real." And we'd have conversations about it and go, "Well, that's kind of the point, is it's not
yeah,
really supposed to look completely real."
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm glad that you noticed that and that
Yeah.
you picked up on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First thing I said, I was like, oh, this. I think it was probably like the first or second time I was like, oh, this is intentional for it to look that way. And then I agree. It's a choice I would have made as well too. That you really wanted to set the part, and it helps with the tone. It also helps with like the sort of the roller coaster of emotions you go on everything. It's like you're not sure if you want to come in this and it's going to be overly serious or it's going to be overly dark and heavy. And then it's just a lot of fun, and then you got these characters. You see Dermot, you're like, oh, well, we know he's going to be some type of tough guy. Martin, you know that he's going to be some type of tough guy. And then they're actually all the complete opposite of it, which is the best, very best part of it.
They're all tough guys until they meet Mary Sue. Then they realize they're not so tough.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people say that, until they meet me, they don't realize how tough they aren't. But
Well, James is here. I probably could give y'all like 3 hours of just talking about this anything. I definitely do appreciate the time to talk about the film.
Oh yeah, thank you for
Because
having us.
yeah.
anytime, and when I'll be here for whatever else, which I'm going to open up the floor to, for upcoming projects or anything you want to share that you may be able to share, without anybody getting in any trouble. Sierra, you want to start what you?
Yeah, I've got a couple things. I've got a very, very tonally different roster of other stuff coming out soon. So I've got like a very poignant like family drama that I'm a small part of, that's really beautiful, called After All. And I've got a slasher sort of horror ensemble piece coming out soon, called Last Chance Motel. And I've got a couple other ones that are a little more in the post production phase, so I can't speak on them quite as much. But a couple other fun things. Nothing like this though. Nothing,
Yeah.
I don't have anything on the horizon that matches this vibe. So for now, I've got the family drama and the slasher movie coming out. But thank you so much, by the way. This was such a wonderful, fun interview, and I can really tell you enjoyed the film. And it's really fun to do interviews with people who ask really fun, interesting, engaging questions, and clearly enjoyed the movie and have a lot of thoughts about it. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. It's really fun to do interviews like this.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Really does. And for you, James, I really want you to say, yeah, I'm going back to work right now, penning the paper. I got three more
Yeah.
films lined up in this universe. No, go ahead. What you working on, brother?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I've got more scripts ready to go. I'm trying to set up a horror script as my next one. I do want to do kind of a Tarantino thing where all my films take place in the same universe. I don't know.
Ooh.
I have a feature film from before this one, which if you like this one, maybe check it out. It's called
Okay.
Coronavirus Conspiracy. It's absurd, it's over the top, it's ridiculous. Um, but there's little breadcrumbs in Killing Mary Sue. A lot of like the news articles, the little ticker at the bottom, like gives
Yeah.
you, like a little insight to what happened to those characters. So yeah, I've got a horror film I'm trying to set up next. It'd be very tonally similar to this one, in the same universe. And I do a lot of work in reality TV too, so I'm always going to be back kicking around in that world, making
Yeah.
making reality TV happen. But
Yeah.
I also just want to echo Sierra's sentiments. Like, what a kick-ass interview, dude! Like,
Yeah.
great questions, engaging questions, a lot of fun to answer, and I love how passionate and excited you were about the film. Like that's literally what I do this for, is to be able to
Thank you,
meet
man.
people and see people just be excited about it and know that they enjoyed it. So like, it's incredibly fulfilling. You
Thank
know.
you, man. I really appreciate that. Sounds like that horror film. You might need to call Sierra for like a small little cameo, have
You
her,
know,
Yeah,
just
walk
might.
across the back.
exercise some demons depending on what the thing calls for. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, that's a resourceful thing. It's like, oh my God, how are we going to stop this demon? Well, we do know there's
Yeah.
one person that's killed
Well,
God,
we
but
got Mary Sue, so maybe she needs to come kill the demon.
hmm. But James is here. Thank you so much for your time. And once again, folks, go check out Killing Mary Sue is available right now on demand and digital, all digital and demand platforms. I promise you, you'll be part of all the jokes, the laughs, the good joy, the good energy. Once you check it out, you'll see exactly what we're talking about here. You better jump on now before this thing starts expanding much bigger and you're late to the party. But
There you go.
you heard it here first. You definitely want to check it out. It's definitely a film where there's so much serious in the world, so much hate in the world, negativity that you go into a film and you see so many notable names, so much talent. You get to see them do things and portray characters and the like that you've never seen before. And you will 100% have a laugh, spit out a beer if you're drinking, well, whatever it may be. But I guarantee you're going to be like, man, this is the best spend of my time in watching this film. It definitely will be fully worth it. So James Sierra, thank you so much once again. And the seat here will always be open for you two for future projects. So I hope we get to talk again very soon.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you
absolutely.
so
Same
much.
here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll catch y'all back very soon.